Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Live at 4 on this Tuesday. At least the sun was out.
Makes a difference, doesn't it?
It was colder than yesterday.
I know, but it didn't feel like it, did it?
I know. We're so amenable to the weather. You know?
Yeah, that's true. It's true. It's early, though. Pretty soon we'll have antifreeze coursing through our veins.
That's right.
Yeah.
Get to 30, we'll be in shorts again. Here's what's making news on this Tuesday. The city of Baraboo was thrust into the world spotlight after a prom picture goes viral. Amanda Quintana reports on how the town hopes to rehabilitate its image.
Firefighters try to control the California wildfires, and as they do that, unfortunately, the death toll continues to rise.
Yeah, and some advice if you're planning to travel this Thanksgiving holiday week, how to survive, coach.
Can't believe we're talking about Thanksgiving. 9 days away already.
Where does the time go?
I know, it's flying.
Unbelievable.
Let's take a look outside today on this sunny Tuesday. Oh, is this a pretty shot?
This is the waves breaching the wall at James Madison Park.
And freezing on the sidewalk.
Covering everything in ice. Boy, you know, it's only in the middle of November. Anyway.
Oh, that is pretty, though.
Not quite as cold. I guess there is some light at the end of the cold tunnel. Here's Dana in the backyard.
We have light right now off to the west for us, actually. We're watching the sunset, a nice clear sunset for us. Currently, wish I would have had my shades out here. Again, it's not too bad if you're in the sun, but that wind chill getting factored in for us right now. It feels a little cool outside. As far as our Doppler track looks, no sort of snow flurries for us today, not even a cloudy sky. And that clear sky is going to help us cool down quite a bit overnight, though. It's going to be very, very chilly outside. Yes, I know that this is cold, and we should be in the upper 40s right now, but it's like a little blast of December for the middle of November. At about 25 right now in Madison, 28 in Janesville, and 27 in Mineral Point. Currently, those wind speeds hovering close to 10 miles per hour, still coming from the north-northwest. So that cooler air is moving on in with that breeze. It feels quite a bit cooler than it actually is. Feels about 17 right now, and you certainly notice it when the wind comes through. It feels like a little bite. So definitely make sure you have the jacket on hand for this evening. Heading into tomorrow morning, temps in the teens yet again overnight. A cool start to our Wednesday. But the good news, our afternoon highs will actually climb above freezing. We'll be in the mid-30s for Wednesday afternoon. A little bit warmer, not quite as cold, but still a little chilly outside. We'll take a look at what's ahead for the rest of the week in just a few minutes. Right now, I want to bounce on over to the roadways with our first alert traffic update along the Beltline. Things are actually a little slower westbound for a change, going about 22 miles per hour near Fish Hatchery Road, and then picking up a little more speed the further west you go, about 40 miles per hour. We still have part of McKee Road closed due to construction just north of Verona, seeing delays along Main Street heading into Verona and the Middleton right now. A little bit of a delay there along University Avenue, but otherwise things seem to be fairly smooth. I want to head down to Janesville, a few construction spots, but a lot of green there on the scene. That's the good news for the Janesville area. Drive times right now all look okay, still close to 4 o'clock. So from Sauk City to Middleton, it'll only take you 18 minutes, 17 for Sun Prairie to downtown. We'll keep a close eye on the roads and, of course, the chilly night ahead. But, yes, it's not going to be as cold as we get into Wednesday and Thursday. That's my good news for the middle of the week.
We could use some good news.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Dana. We'll see you in a few minutes.
Thank you, Dana. First at 4, the small town of Baraboo caught international attention yesterday because of a high school prom picture.
The photo appears to show most of the boys in the class of 2019 doing a Nazi salute. Amanda Quintana is in downtown Baraboo with what the town thinks can be done to change a reputation that has turned negative overnight. Amanda?
Yes, well, it's fair to say that a lot of people across the world didn't know about this small town of 12,000 until yesterday. Now, the city of Baraboo is being linked to that picture that many people are calling hateful. It's a picture of about 50 male students right before junior prom posing for a picture. The photographer says that he told them to wave, but one of the only students who is seen not doing that pose, says that some of his classmates meant to do that pose. Mayor Mike Palm says no matter the intention, the photo is out there and it's linked to Baraboo. But he says this is not the end of the story. It's the beginning. This problem has presented an opportunity to rebuild.
I am not going to try to downplay it or try to make it go away. It's there. I think it's pervasive in the entire country. It just happened that here there was photographic proof that it occurred. And so it's a wake-up call to us, and it's a call to arms for our population that says this is not who we are.
The mayor says last night's impromptu showing of love on the same steps of the courthouse is just the start of a grassroots movement to show this is not Baraboo. Residents have organized a community forum to come up with more ideas on Thursday night. It is at 6:30 at the Civic Center. A Jewish couple has also reached out to the mayor to offer to hold a talk or a rally with some education. Many of the Baraboo residents, though, that I spoke to here today say that they need more of the facts. They want to hear from the people that were there. They want to hear from the students on what the intent really was there. So they're not quite sure that they were doing the Nazi salute, although the mayor says whatever it was, that picture is out there.
It is out there for the world to see, indeed. All right, Amanda Quintana, live in Baraboo. Thank you.
The number of hate crimes continues to rise as the FBI released its latest hate crimes report. There were 17% more hate crimes last year than 2016, according to the new FBI statistics. 80% of victims were targeted because of their race, ethnicity, or their religion. Several high-profile violent hate crimes have gripped the nation, from the shooting death of 2 African Americans at a Kentucky supermarket to the killing of 11 worshipers at a synagogue in Pittsburgh.
This uptick, one of the largest upticks in the history of hate crime reporting, is really one that gives us and other civil rights organizations grave concern.
For too long, meanness has prevailed.
South Carolina Representative James Clyburn spoke about the decline in political rhetoric at a conference in Washington. More than 16,000 police agencies nationwide gave data to the FBI for this report.
The death toll in the California wildfires continues to climb. At least 44 are now dead and hundreds are missing as fire crews try to get a handle on the situation. Elena Diaz has the latest.
The road to Paradise, California is littered with burned out cars and charred ruins where homes used to stand. Search teams are using power saws and cadaver dogs to try to locate victims. More than 200 people are still missing.
Under normal circumstances where you would have, people and places and things to help you connect them, a lot of that is gone.
At the height of the fire, officials say flames were burning at the rate of 30 football fields per minute, leaving residents little chance to escape. Those who survived are left scrambling to find a place to stay.
30 to 50,000 people up there, and we all have to go someplace.
Here in Southern California, the evacuation orders have been lifted for many of the areas affected by the Woolsey fire, but some came home only to be told to leave again.
It's terrible. We evacuated, thought the danger was done, and then of course came back thinking it was safe, and it's terrifying.
Crews attacked the Woolsey fire from the air as flames tore through the foothills west of Los Angeles. The fire is now 35% contained.
We are not out of the woods yet. We still have some incredibly tough conditions ahead of us.
Nearly 9,000 firefighters are battling the fires, which are now the deadliest and costliest in state history. Ileana Diaz, CBS News, Calabasas, California.
So far, 15 air tankers have dropped 500,000 pounds of fire retardant over the Woodsley fire, while 22 helicopters have dropped 1.5 million gallons of water.
First Lady Melania Trump, in a remarkable move carried out by her spokeswoman, publicly pushed for the ouster of Deputy National Security Advisor Mira Ricardel. Ricardel reportedly argued with Melania Trump's staff over airplane seating for the First Lady's recent trip to Africa. And her husband, the president, has soured on his Homeland Security Secretary, Kirstjen Nielsen. She is expected to leave her job as soon as this week. Nielsen had hoped to complete 1 year in the job and leave in December. President Trump has blamed Nielsen for not doing more to address illegal immigration at the southern border.
CNN is suing President Trump and top White House aides for suspending CNN correspondent Jim Acosta's press pass. The lawsuit filed this morning says denying Acosta's access to the White House violates his and CNN's First and Fifth Amendment rights. The White House revoked Acosta's so-called hard pass last week after the reporter angered President Trump by asking him multiple questions at a news conference. The White House accused Acosta of placing his hands on an intern who was trying to take away his microphone. The legislature's Finance Committee wasted no time in approving Governor-elect Tony Evers' transition budget. Evers had asked the state for $94,600 to cover salaries for 7 positions, equipment, supplies, travel, and legal services. The committee unanimously approved the request with no discussion. The entire meeting lasted less than a minute. Well, Dane County is again joining forces with area black churches to fight infant mortality.
Eric Franke is in the news center with more details about an initiative known as the Safe Sleep Sabbath. Eric?
Susan and Mark, this is the 4th year of this partnership. It's between Dane County and the African American Council of Churches. Now, the goal, as you mentioned, reduce infant mortality, and area churches are holding their Safe Sleep Sabbath, getting the word out about the ABCs of safe sleeping for babies, which disproportionately affects black babies, not only across the country, but especially so here in Dane County.
Some of these challenges include discrimination, racism, low income, food insecurities, and inadequate housing. These experiences lead to a high level of chronic stress for some black mothers. As you can see,
Stubbs says in 2017, black babies in Dane County were twice as likely to be born at a low birth weight as white babies, an unacceptable trend that she says has persisted for years now. And County Executive Joe Parisi declared Sunday, November 18th, as that Safe Sleep Sabbath Sunday in Dane County. He says it's an educational process, this whole thing, alerting new moms of the safe ways their babies should be sleeping. He says the infant mortality rate that particularly affects black babies in Dane County is another example of a disparity that needs to be addressed. Mark and Susan?
All right, Eric Franke live in the news center. Thank you.
You're welcome.
The busiest travel time of the year is just days away now. AAA projects more than 54 million Americans will travel 50 miles or more next week for the Thanksgiving holiday, the most since 2005. And the TSA is expecting a record number of airline passengers.
We have additional staff at all our checkpoints and throughout our airports. We have additional canine teams. We have new X-ray technology, new credential authentication technology.
TSA officials say they continue to deal with persistent security threats. They're asking travelers to report suspicious activities, and they're asking Congress for more money to keep passengers safe.
Yeah, a little more than a week away. It's hard to believe. Well, up next, the search is over for Amazon.
The company announced today who won the Where Are They Going to Build Their Second Headquarters sweepstakes.
Amazon has finally revealed not 1, but 2 locations for its new headquarters. I'm Kenneth Craig with the praise and controversy surrounding its big decision.
Well, after cities across the nation put in lucrative bids to host the second headquarters of Amazon, the company revealed today who won the sweepstakes.
And the winners are, Kenneth Craig reports, Amazon is going to split the second headquarters between 2 locations.
Amazon announced Tuesday it's investing $5 billion to create additional headquarters in Queens, New York and Arlington, Virginia, bringing 25,000 new jobs to each location.
Those will be high-paying jobs, $150,000 per year average.
Amazon received more than 200 proposals for the new headquarters, but in the end, the online retail giant picked major metropolitan areas where it could attract top tech talent. Long Island City is right across the river from Manhattan, and the Arlington location is close to Reagan National Airport outside D.C.
Amazon's new investment in Virginia is going to pay dividends for the entire Commonwealth.
Amazon said economic incentives were another factor. The company will get more than $2 billion in tax breaks. Amazon has agreed to donate space here in Long Island City for a tech startup incubator and a new school. It says it'll also invest in infrastructure and new green spaces.
We're going to get more shops, we're going to get more restaurants. I'm thrilled.
I'm feeling outrage and shock over the size of this public subsidy.
But New York State Senator Michael Gianaris said his office has been flooded with calls from concerned residents.
The trains are already overcrowded. I don't know how 25,000 more people in that system is going to be handled.
Amazon also announced it'll open an operations hub in Nashville, creating 5,000 new jobs. Kenneth Craig for WISC News 3.
Hiring at both of the new headquarters will begin in 2019.
The number of RVs in this country continues to rise. Last year, more than 10.5 million households owned at least one of the vehicles. That's 3 million more than in 2005. Young and old people like the affordable, flexible, and minimalist lifestyle that comes with an RV. Retailers Amazon and JCPenney have even started programs to recruit RV residents for holiday warehouse work. On Wall Street, a rebound lost steam after oil prices sank. The Dow Industrials fell 100 points, closing at 25,286. The Nasdaq Composite Index was up a fraction, but the S&P 500 was off 4. Well, a lot of little girls love dressing up their Barbie dolls.
And now some bigger girls are themselves dressing up like Barbie. One of the largest sellers of vintage-inspired fashion, Unique Vintage, is working with Barbie parent Mattel on the first women's line to meticulously duplicate some of Barbie's most iconic early looks. In the process, the company has also taken care of the one thing that critics love to hate about Barbie, her slender physique, by offering the outfits in sizes from extra small all the way to 4X. The collaboration, Barbie Times Unique Vintage, celebrates the 50s and 60s. The company is planning on extending the line next year for Barbie's 60th birthday.
What do you think?
I was reading, so I didn't really get to see. What did you think?
It's unusual.
50s and 60s kind of fashions?
Yeah, the Barbies from the 50s and 60s.
I think it might be fun for moms and daughters. You know what I mean?
Could be.
Yeah, I don't know.
We'll see. Still to come at 4, you may want to think twice before you snap a picture of your meal at a restaurant.
When we come back, some restaurants are actually banning cell phones while you eat and rewarding customers who put down the phone. We'll tell you why they're doing that coming up after Dana's First Alert forecast.
Take a look at this 70-year-old Taiwanese Pokemon Go fanatic Chen San-Juan, a.k.a. Pokemon Grandpa, has gone viral for playing Pokemon Go with 15 phones attached to his bicycle so he can, quote, catch them all. Chen can play nonstop overnight thanks to his custom-made portable battery packs. He says he spends an average of $300 a month to buy virtual currencies in the game. All his gear sent him back $4,800.
What? He might be able to sell that rig that he has on his bike.
Whatever the next game is.
I didn't know Pokemon Go was still a thing.
I agree. I'm not sure.
But maybe in Taiwan it is.
Maybe.
Apparently, Pokemon Grandpa.
That's pretty impressive.
Grandpa's pretty excited.
Today is Tuesday, November 13th. It is World Kindness Day. Spread kindness wherever you can today.
It's also Sadie Hawkins Day. That's when a woman can ask a man out on a date, or Sadie Hawkins dance, where the girls would ask the guys.
Is that still a thing?
Yeah, we had vice versa when I was in high school. We didn't call it Sadie Hawkins.
The Me Too thing, you know, it's like, it's kind of dated.
Oh,
all right.
fun.
It's also Start a Rumor Day.
And?
Do you have one?
I heard a rumor it might warm up.
Yes, potentially. A little rumor, a baby rumor. We'll take that.
It's just a lie at this point.
At this point, we're getting a little milder as we head into the end of the week, unfortunately.
Oh, it's sunset already.
I know. Also getting earlier and earlier and earlier. It's going to be dark soon. We'll take a look at the forecast right after the break. We had a little more sunshine for us today, our visible cloud track. Not looking too bad as we were earlier in the afternoon, seeing a lot of sun. Sunset's just a little bit away. We're looking at a mostly clear sky overnight as well. No flurries for us today either with that clear sky throughout the state, actually. Enjoying a pretty calm Doppler radar. It's a nice change for us. No precip concerns overnight. We have cold air in place. Our breeze still coming from the northwest. It's going to stay that way overnight. We have another cool evening, but as our wind direction shifts a little bit, coming from the more south-southwest, it's actually going to help us warm up a little more for Wednesday and then eventually for Thursday, finally getting a little closer to average. Again, our next weather maker still well off to the west. It won't be approaching until we get later on in the day for Friday. So do plan on a clear sky tonight. Temps are going to drop quite a bit heading into early tomorrow morning. We will be in the teens for us. Sunshine tomorrow afternoon, and we'll get a little warmer. Temps will be in the mid to low 30s for tomorrow afternoon. By Thursday morning, our breeze coming from the south, so it won't be as cold for Thursday morning, and temps will be in the mid to low 40s for us by Thursday. Wind speeds tomorrow afternoon will be in the single digits. Coming from the south, though, again, will be a little warmer, so our wind chill won't be as much of a drop, but it's still going to feel like we're in the mid to low 20s, even though our actual temps, again, will be in the middle 30s for us. So it's going to be sunny. It's still going to be cool outside. We just can't shake that off just yet, unfortunately. It is going to be a little cooler for us for the next few days. Bouncing off into the weekend, though, that's when our next weather maker, as I mentioned, will be sliding in for us Friday night and into Saturday. Plan on a little bit of sun early in the day on Friday, maybe, but then throughout the rest of the afternoon, clouds building in, mostly cloudy overnight, and then our shower chances will build in. Not a big weather or big rain event for us, but about 1/4 inch possible near Madison. Temperature-wise into next week and the Thanksgiving holiday, we're likely going to be staying very close to average, and the 10-day forecast is holding on to that as well off to the west. If you are traveling for Thanksgiving, right now it looks like they will be just a little above average, or that's the likely trend as we head into that 8 to 14-day period, which again holds true for our 10-day average for us today in the mid-40s. Certainly not there, and as we look into next week, we are going to be hovering in that 40-degree line. Right now, again, sunset just a few minutes away. Downtown looking beautiful with that clear sky. Should be a lovely sunset for us. When we get a few more clouds in the sky, get a little more color action, but still clear sunset's just as pretty. Official sunset is at 4:35 for us. 25 degrees our high for the day, and we should have been at 46, so quite a drop. Even those of you, we got a few messages on social media, grumpy that we're calling 25 degrees cold. A 20-degree drop from normal is cold for the middle of November. Low temperatures this morning in the teens. Again, a 15-degree drop for us, or 14-degree drop for us from what our average temps should have been. Should have been stopping this morning at about 30 degrees. Kept falling. Was very cold outside. So we are just a little bit below average. 13 overnight tonight, quite cold with a mostly clear sky. Tomorrow afternoon, we will be in the mid-30s, still below average, but thankfully not quite as cold. Remember that wind chill factored in. Even though it's coming from the southwest now, it is still going to feel like we're closer to the mid-20s for our afternoon highs as we head into our Wednesday. Overall, for the next 7 days, we are actually going to warm up just a little bit, but then we cool right back down again. Breezy day for us on Friday. That next opportunity for some showers is going to come in overnight Friday and into Saturday. May even see some light snowfall mixed on in there. Of course, that's really going to be dependent on the timing of the rainfall as it comes through, whether or not it will be showers or leaning towards that light snow event for early in the day on Saturday. Saturday, do plan on some clouds, unfortunately. And again, that precip really favored more towards the morning. Not ruling out the chance of that lingering into the early afternoon right now. And then we stay cold again into the start of next week. But notice as we get a little closer to Turkey Day, we finally start to level out, and we will be in the mid-40s by Turkey Day and Black Friday. Right now, though, is looking like a little bit of rain showers, but it's okay. You stay inside, you eat, you watch football.
That's right.
Now, wait a minute. You're getting complaints that saying that 25 isn't cold.
Somebody, yes, we're not going to call out anybody, but a few people were like, you're new, you don't understand what cold is. And I'm from the Midwest, A, and B, 25 is cold.
Yeah. The average is supposed to be. Well,
correct.
What's the thinking that, oh, yeah, it's going to get much colder?
It's going to get much colder, right?
Well, yeah,
right.
It is.
You haven't seen nothing yet. And, it's going to be here, and we're going to agree even then that it's also cold as it is now.
So we got, what, 3 minutes before the sunset? We got to.
Can we still see the picture?
There we go.
Oh, there's a live picture from the Edgewater Sky Cam.
3 minutes to go.
Beautiful color there right along the horizon line.
Yeah,
really, really nice for us.
Very pretty.
All right, Dana, thank you.
Thanks, Dana.
Well, more than 90% of Americans own a cell phone, and many people, for some reason, use them to take pictures of food when they're dining out.
But some restaurants are fed up with the disruptions, and they are actually banning cell phones, or they're asking customers not to use them. And they're rewarding diners who ditch their phones at a restaurant. Kenneth Craig reports from New York.
When this New York City restaurant opened to diners, its owner envisioned a place where guests could not only enjoy a good meal, they could connect in conversation. But over the years, Hearth chef Marco Canora noticed something very different happening.
No one was communicating, and it was infuriating to me. Like, I just couldn't believe how extensive and how awful it had gotten. They're not doing this, you know? They're like doing this. And families aren't talking, and first dates aren't talking.
His solution is subtle but effective. These old boxes on each table that say, "Open me."
They see it, they open it, then there's another note here that says, you know, we'd like to invite you to unplug during your meal at Hearth. Feel free to use this box to put your phone away and connect with your fellow diners.
It was an easy sell for Chris Sampson and his friends, who all tried it for the first time.
I love it. I really love it. I mean, sometimes if I go to a restaurant and the self-service doesn't work, I'm secretly happy about that.
At this sushi restaurant in New Jersey, every Tuesday night, customers are invited to do the same. Instead of a box, there's a champagne bucket. And diners are rewarded with the 20% discount if they check in on social media, then make it through their meal without their phones.
It's liberating, you know, in a lot of ways, that you're not thinking about it, you're not worrying about it, you're just sort of having a meal and talking to the people next to you.
Manager Stacy Orienti says most of the reaction has been positive.
Really, the only pushback that we've seen, that people are afraid that they couldn't do it and didn't want to be called out because of it.
Have you had guests actually say, "I can't do this"?
Oh yeah, we've had parties argue playfully, but you know, not like a legitimate argument, but they've argued like, well, what do you mean you can't do it? No, I'm expecting a work call, or I'm expecting this or expecting that.
A recent study found U.S. adults will spend on average 3.5 hours a day on mobile devices this year. Other restaurants around the globe have rolled out their own cell phone policies, from limiting photography to instituting full bans.
Cell phones have been a blessing and a curse for restaurants.
Which is why Bon Appetit deputy editor Julia Kramer says she isn't surprised some restaurants are taking action.
Restaurants have benefited greatly from how obsessed people are with taking photos of their food. But there's a flip side of that, and maybe it's a backlash as well, which is that this type of behavior is also very disruptive.
Back at Hearth, not everyone participates, and they don't have to.
It's not a rule, it's not a policy.
Nope, it's not a rule, it's not a policy. It's just kind of like, listen, we all can acknowledge that these things are addictive and we're tethered to them all day. And if you like the idea of putting your phone away and being present with the person you're having dinner, by all means, use the box that's on the table. And it's just there as a little subtle, you know, statement to say, maybe you want to consider doing that.
Serving up a digital detox, one meal at a time. Kenneth Craig for WISC News 3.
And when did that practice start, taking pictures of your food in a restaurant?
Well, when Facebook and Instagram started. I think that's an interesting idea.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. You go to a restaurant, you see people on their phones.
That I hate.
Sitting next to each other.
Yeah, I don't like that. I might instill that in the kitchen table, too.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
Everybody
Some families do that.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. It's a brave new world that we live in, yes.
Well, still to come at 4, the skies certainly aren't as friendly for passengers as they used to be.
When we come back, Consumer Reports has some advice on how to best survive flying coach. That's when Live at 4 continues.
and it's gone.
Yeah.
The sun has set.
Sun is setting on a Tuesday afternoon. Boy, is that a pretty show, isn't it? American Airlines recently began service on the Boeing 737 MAX, a new aircraft that Boeing says is more fuel efficient than earlier models and also carries 12 more passengers than American's other 737s.
A recent example of the growing trend of cramped air travel. Leah Linscheid has Consumer Reports' annual best and worst airline ratings, helping you find a way to fly a little comfier in coach.
It's not your imagination. Some airplanes now come with seats closer together, smaller bathrooms, and less space for carry-on luggage. So it's no surprise that flying is less comfortable and more aggravating. But what really bugs passengers most?
Lack of legroom is the biggest thing.
The turnaround time for baggage.
Now you're packed in like sardines.
The food.
And it's not just cramped quarters that makes modern-day air travel so unpleasant.
With the rise of the low-cost carriers, there's been increased competition to get airfares at the lowest possible price. And they hope that travelers will then decide to upgrade their tickets to more expensive fares, offering more perks.
Airlines offer enticements like early boarding, extra legroom, and a checked bag, but all for an additional price.
I had to pay 60 this way, 60 that way. Like, why didn't you tell me that when I was buying a ticket?
So how do you score a more comfortable, hassle-free flight without extra fees? Consumer Reports says choose a top-rated airline. In its latest survey of over 52,000 CR members reporting on nearly 100,000 economy-class domestic flights, the airlines that received the best overall scores were Southwest, Alaska, JetBlue, and Hawaiian. All four scored high marks in cabin cleanliness, keeping passengers informed of flight status, and good service from airline staff. The bottom two were Frontier and Spirit. They received low marks for ease of check-in, keeping passengers informed of flight status and pricing transparency. And how do you get the best price for your flight? Consumer Reports suggests searching multiple times over multiple days and shop both at airline websites and third-party sites like Kayak and Orbitz. For WISC News 3, this is Leah Linscheid.
And if you're looking to fly in style, Consumer Reports survey results found Hawaiian Airlines and Alaska Airlines are among the highest rated airlines for first-class flights, according to members' experiences on 8,700 business and first-class flights.
Flying is fun, isn't it? It's a challenge, always.
Cattle drive.
Still to come tonight at 4, the holidays are here.
And all the temptations that come with it. But mindful eating can help you get through the season in good health and good spirits. Psychologist Shyla Mergain shows us how when Live at 4 continues.
looking pretty okay for us on the roads. Sunset officially passed now, so you won't need the shades. The Beltline just a little slower for us, both east and westbound. On the eastbound side, 30 and 26 miles per hour right along John Nolan Drive. Westbound just a little quicker, barely. Main Street southbound near Verona, seeing a little bit of a delay, and again, that part of McKee Road still closed with construction. Taking a little look up towards Prairie du Sac and Sauk City. Right now, things look fairly okay. A little slow down, though, of course, heading over the bridge. And in Janesville right now, downtown's fine, but we do have a little bit of a delay there heading from 14 north. Drive times for you from Janesville to the Beltline take you about 28 minutes, 18 from Sauk City to Middleton, and 18 for Sun Prairie to downtown. So everything's where it should be. But we'll keep a close eye on things. Have another update on weather in just a few minutes. Mark and Susan.
All right, Dana, thank you. It wasn't anything they planned, but Aaron and Mike Potts of St. Paul welcomed their baby girl into the world at 11 p.m. on Sunday, November 11th. Yep, 11 o'clock on 11/11. The baby girl weighed in at 7 pounds, 12 ounces. No name yet for the numerical child.
Oh, I love that. There's her lucky number.
That's right.
11.
11's a number. Well, the holiday season is upon us, and excuses to overindulge are easily within reach.
Well, instead of the pressure and guilt that we always put on ourselves at this time of the year, there is a way you can empower yourself to feel good over the holidays. It's called mindfulness, and it applies to mindful eating. UW Health distinguished psychologist Shyla Murgain is here to show us how, and you brought dessert, Shyla.
I did,
Thank you.
yeah, in honor of Thanksgiving next week.
Wonderful. Well, tell us what are we talking about when we're talking about mindful eating?
Well, this time of year, there's so many treats and sweets that we want to enjoy and really savor the food, but oftentimes people can really overindulge and eat too much, ending up feeling kind of sick, and that really takes its toll on our stress levels and even can make us vulnerable to illness. So when we're having things like Thanksgiving dinner or those holiday cookies, I know mine are made with 2 cups of sugar, my grandmother's recipe, we can really enjoy it through mindful eating. So I brought some pumpkin pie for us to demonstrate.
And you can play tricks on your mind, right?
Yeah, the first is we have the same size pie, but we have 3 different size plates. Susan, you have the smallest plate, Mark has a medium, and I have a very large plate here.
Here, let's put these all together here.
I look like I got the biggest piece.
Yeah, and they find it's more aesthetically pleasing when the food covers 3/4 of the plate, so that would be Susan's.
So use smaller plates.
Yeah, use smaller plates. If the larger plate was small amount.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There was a study that showed if you have a very large plate, you're more likely to eat 16% more, but actually think you eat 7% less. So
interesting.
Yeah, so what I'd like us to do is just take a few deep breaths, and then we're just going to take a mindful bite. And taking a few deep breaths just allows us to center and bring our mind into the moment so we can really savor it. And then if you're up for it, you can just take, and you can take a bite, and as you're taking a bite, you might smell it and really use your taste buds, really
Maybe
sensing all the flavors.
Keep it in your mouth for a while.
Yeah.
So savor it and enjoy it instead of inhale it like so many of us do. Yeah.
Yeah, and just taking that mindful bite, often less is more, and we're really nourishing ourselves, so we feel like, oh, we're flourishing this time of year.
But some people say, well, it's the holidays. I'm just going to splurge now, and then come January 1st, it'll be fine.
That's fine too,
But it's not going to be fine.
If we're really going to splurge, then just, really savor it and enjoy it. And oftentimes, again, a little bit less goes a long way.
Did you make this?
It's very good. Unfortunately, no, but yeah, thanks to the baker at the grocery store.
Another one of your tips that I love is developing gratitude at your plate. And that's what's so special about Thanksgiving. It makes you think about those things. But what do you mean exactly?
Yeah, my family and I, we have a tradition on Thanksgiving to go around and say a few things we're grateful for this year, but I think you can foster gratitude at your plate. Even thinking about this pumpkin pie, all the factors that came into making it, the crops that were grown, the farmers, the person at the grocery store who baked it, driving it here, the roads that were constructed to bring me here for us to enjoy it. So when we focus on gratitude, I think we really remember the true meaning of the season.
And focus on maybe other things besides food.
Exactly, lots of ways to celebrate this season, whether it's holiday music, or watching the first snowfall, or the second snowfall, because we just had snow last week, smelling a scented candle, being around loved ones, maybe wrapping up in a warm blanket in front of a fire. There's, lots of ways to really really experience that sense of cheer this time of year.
So these mindfulness practices extend to all areas, not just necessarily to the table.
And
Yeah.
you have a Facebook event coming up?
I do tomorrow at 12:30 on UW Health's Facebook page. I'll be talking about mindfulness, and what we're showing here is actually an upcoming event December 6th. It's a free talk on mindfulness, the practice of remembering. We'll talk about mindful eating, but also just how do you cultivate present moment awareness in all aspects of your life. I always say so more of life can come through, and then also more of you can show up as well.
And this December event is at the Dream Bank.
It is Dream Bank, free, 6:15 at Dream Bank downtown.
And the Facebook is tomorrow.
It is
At
12:30 on UW Health's Facebook
All right, well, I'll be
page.
mindful eating Thanksgiving and thinking of you.
Oh, thank
Have a
you.
great Thanksgiving.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving.
How about a final check of your forecast coming up? Cool, clear evening.
Yes, absolutely, with a wind chill to factor in, of course. It feels much cooler outside than what we're actually at, in the mid to low 20s for us right now throughout central and southern Wisconsin, but it feels like we're at about 17 in Madison. So keep that in mind throughout the rest of the evening. Not only is it cold, it feels a little colder than it actually is. So temperatures early tomorrow morning will feel like we are in the single digits, although overnight lows will be in the low teens. Sunshine tomorrow afternoon yet again will actually be just a little warmer, dare I say it.
Wow,
Not quite as cold outside. 36 is what we're looking at a high for tomorrow.
All right. Thank you, Dana.
Yeah, thanks, Dana.
And coming up tomorrow here on Live Before, Lisa Briggs from the Bruce Company will help us get into the holiday spirit.
And we'll talk with the former publisher of the New York Times about freedom of the press amid criticism from the White House. That's coming up tomorrow on Live at 4. In today's Final Touch, Mark and I would just like to say it's been nice knowing you.
Yes, one day, maybe sooner than later, you could be seen a roll.